morning, everybody, and welcome to another She-Myth Eliminator story. I am your host, Tracy Wilson, author or co-author of the best-selling book, The She-Myth, which I hope all of you guys have got by now. And if you haven't got it, you need to head on over to Amazon and get yourself a copy. Anyway, this morning I am super blessed to have America's supermom on the show with me this morning, and we're going to be talking about all things She-Myth, really uncovering her story. She's got a really interesting story for us to unwrap. And I'm going to say, oh my gosh, America's Supermom, absolutely. With 15 little humans, or probably big humans, to have cared for over a number of years, she would be one of those women who would be super organized, absolute supermom. So welcome to the show, LaChelle. I'm so pleased that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm just chuckling because I'm like, I don't know about organized. You know, we're making it through every day. And currently I have 7 of them. We're doing e-learning. So it's a work in progress for sure.
Oh my gosh, you bring in the new meaning to supermom for sure. Homeschooling 7 of them. Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, hey, I thought we'd have a bit of a chat and, get some information about your backstory, like where you come from, what it is that you've been doing, and how you've come to be where you are today. Tell us a bit about the show.
Well, thanks so much for having me. And I just love the title of the book. I think this is such an appropriate topic because really it was something that I struggled with, these myths, stereotypes that really plagued 13 years of my life. I struggled with depression for 13 years. And on top of that, I was hospitalized 3 times. And a lot of it was just being in that survival mode, very robotic, people pleasing, not having boundaries. And so it really kept me on this trajectory of always not really knowing who I was, losing my identity. And so I think this is a very appropriate topic to bring up because many women suffer from this. So that was pretty much about my journey. I wasn't raised that way. I was raised as an only child, no siblings, and my mother was very educational oriented. Okay, she really prided on academics, and so I performed well as a high achiever. And I think that also was something that kind of caused this downward spiral because I was always willing to work hard for things that I wanted. You know, I felt if I wanted to have it, I could have it, but I just had to work for it. So when I had a family, I thought I could be the one that could work for everybody. And I realized soon that that just wasn't the case. You know, you can't carry your whole family on your back and do it all. You have to be willing to ask for help and recognize that you're not an island. So needless to say, I learned this lesson the hard way.
Wow. So for somebody to be, and I suppose, growing up, you would have seen that happen. Often what we do is we follow suit, right? We look around us, we see the role models that we've been living with, that have been surrounding us, and we start to kind of emulate what it is that they're doing. And for your mum carrying 1 on her back, compared to you having to carry, 15 plus a husband plus, I know because I have a big family too, then having to carry the rest of the family on your back too, that is an extremely heavy load to try and be all things to. So, yeah. And that obviously took its toll on you, LaChelle, like over a period of time. Talk us through what happened, what happened there? When did the point come where you were like, oh my God,
yeah,
this is not working for me?
So true. And I think really the thing that makes me so passionate about it today is I didn't see the signs. For me, depression, I thought, was staying in the bed, not being motivated, not doing anything. So when I am running my kids to school, taking them to soccer, going on field trips, being a part of PTA, doing all these different activities, I thought, depression, it wasn't even on my radar. So each of the times that I was hospitalized, my husband sought intervention for me. It wasn't until after my 3rd hospitalization that I just began to have this awareness that, okay, this is a pattern, and I didn't really want another hospitalization to occur. So it was at that point that I really did a deep dive within and said, you know what, I have to figure this out. I have to do something different. And it was at that point that I took accountability for my own decisions and realized that I had to empower myself to do something different in order to make a change. So it was at that point that I created a strategy that I call Fresh Start. And it's an acronym for 5 areas that help me overcome that depression, but more importantly, maintain a life depression free. And so that really was the catalyst that got me into being a lifestyle designer. I call that for the role that I play in the lives of other women to help them find their voice and craft a life around what it is that they desire for themselves.
I love that. And I love that, often we end up in this place where we're empowering and we want to help other women, not because we have to, but because we really want to. And often that comes from a journey that we've had ourselves, that we have experienced, something ourselves that we've now been able to get through the other side on, and now are now well equipped to help other women navigate those stormy waters. So when you were going through that process, and you alluded to this, that there's a lot of outside influence that sort of is taken on or that occurs at that time. How were you feeling about, because that would have contributed, right, to that downward spiral, and you seeing a pattern of things happen? Can you remember a time where maybe there were some outside influences that were going on that you then, through the process of awareness and a realization and accountability, that you realized that a lot of that stuff actually wasn't coming, or it actually wasn't you. It was just the storm that was happening on the outside of the window, so to speak, but you allowed that in. Do you think of a time where that happened?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to give you one as simple as meal that I fed my kids. I was so much into this mindset that being home, it was my responsibility to have 3 gourmet or home cooked meals every day, all day, for my children. And so it wasn't until I really just had the realization that, I don't know if you guys have Subway there in Australia or any kind of Subway type place. And I'm like, they're making thousands of dollars every day and they're having sub sandwiches and chips. So it was that point that I realized that, this pattern of feeling like, to be a good mom, I had to have a home cooked meal. It had to be, something from scratch every day. And that really was a very eye opening. But that was down to that minute. And some people might say, well, it's a big deal. But that was my mindset about things. So I had this idea that I had to fit into the mold, of doing everything perfect and right. And, I really had no example for our family dynamic, because I met my husband in college. We both graduated. And so all of my colleagues, friends, they were not homemakers. So for us to have a large family and me be at home, I had no example of anybody that I could talk to about managing, not just 1 or 2 children, but as many as 15. And so that dynamic was really hard. On top of that, I was a step parent to 2 of these 15 children. So managing that, then my own set of standards from being a high achiever, it was like a perfect mom, doing everything right, making sure the kids are making good grades and all this. So I really didn't have a realistic, idea of what it took to be a stay-home mom, what those guidelines should be. So my only example was the one that I lived my whole life, which was being a high achiever. So needless to say, every day, instead of feeling accomplished, I was feeling like a failure because I was having 10 things on my list to get done and only getting 2 or 3 completed. So instead of saying, wow, you got some of those things done, I'm telling myself, what is wrong with me? I have been a high achiever all these years. Why can't I get all this done? So when other people on the outside are thinking everything is great, I'm looking at myself and saying that I'm a failure.
Isn't that, it's an interesting thing, because I think as women, particularly when you are a high achiever and you are a go-getter, somebody who wants to continuously improve, when you have that innately inside of you, you do tend to look at those things in that manner, right? We're looking at, okay, well, for me to be successful, because we've conjured up this idea of what success looks like to us in our head. 15 children, I've got to cook, their meals, and they must be gourmet style meals for the and I come and live in your house, by the way, but gourmet style meals, 3 times a day, washing done, house in order, the perfect, and I put in, inverted commas here, the perfect mum, which realistically doesn't exist. So we start to create these non-realistic expectations of ourselves that we can actually never live up to. And so I love the fact that you've gone through that, and then you realize that's the case. This is what the heck am I doing to myself? I'm like allowing myself to almost self-sabotage every single day, and then put myself in a boxing ring and beat myself up because I haven't lived up to these crazy expectations that I've created on myself. So then all right, hang on a minute, this has happened as a pattern, and I'm ending up, I'm repeating this pattern over and over again, and I'm ending up here, which is in hospital, which is not where I want to be.
Yes.
It was that moment of, now I've got to change. Talk me through that, like moment of, hang on, this, realization, I've got to change. What did you do?
So the first thing was I really did some self-reflection. That was huge because so many days it was just survival mode. So having the space to even think, to even process, how did the day go? What would be a logical thing to do? Just going back, usually during that whole time frame, I would be sleeping like 3 to 4 hours a night, period. I'm nursing kids. I'm up in the middle of the night because some of them have a night terror. So it was a continuous cycle of sleep deprivation. So that's a little background with that. So we already know what that can do. But after my last hospitalization, I took the space to realize that I had to take accountability. So I have been in this place of blaming my husband, my kids, and circumstances that I just had this point to say, you know what, I got to put myself in control here. Regardless of how it happened, I just really had to take ownership. And so it was at that point that I got off social media and I really stopped watching the news and other things that were kind of like voices talking to me or standards or opinions. And I just got quiet with me to really find my own voice, which I knew was there. So during that time was when I really began to think and question everything. So I'm still on that journey of really not taking things at face value, but questioning, why am I doing this? Am I making 3 square meals because I feel like I have to do it, or is this something I want to do? So I started questioning myself about everything that I thought I had to do or wanted to do to find out if it was really my voice or if it was society's voice or my husband's voice or my kid's voice. And I'm still on that journey today. And so during that process, I realized that I wanted to accept how things were and I had to forgive myself. So many people talk about, forgiving family members and, different things that happen, but I had to forgive myself because, that time that I was dealing with that depression, those were the times that I would be like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to argue with my husband. I don't want it to get bigger than what it is. I'm just going to ignore this. It's going to work out. I'm just going to take it for the team, or it's really not that big of a deal. I'm making it a bigger deal than what it is. So I was burying my voice every time that happened. And so I think just the realization that, I was doing this to myself. I wasn't speaking up for me, so that I can move forward. And once I was able to do that, then it really came to the point where I said, you know what? I don't need to seek any validation from anybody else approving or understanding or believing in what I believe in. I can speak for myself. I can be who I am. And for my story, I was the stay-home mom, but my husband was also an officer in the military. He was a pastor. So I had all these different places where I had to be a leader, and I just wore a different mask. It was like I had to mask the feelings of not feeling adequate, and all these things. And so that was one of the things that I told myself, I'm not wearing any mask anymore. I'm just going to be who I am. It's too exhausting. And so that's really how that came about.
I take my hat off to you, and I applaud you for actually taking ownership and realizing that that was the case, because you and only you have been the person who made the decision to make a change in your life and are now at the point that you're at now. And you realized back then that you were the only person that could do that. And I think often, we go through life, we start to take on board all the judgments, the stereotypes, the negative words, etc., from an outside forces. And then what we try to do is we then try to lay the blame and the responsibility, we try to lay that back on the same force that gave it to us in the first place, and it's never ever going to fix. And so until that moment we realise that, okay, hang on a minute, there's one person in this entire equation here that can make the difference, and it's me, because I'm the person that can be in control. It's actually taking that control back as the strong woman that you were, and then making those changes. And as you say, it doesn't happen overnight. It's subtle changes, day by day, recognizing, sitting quiet, listening to oneself, turning off the television. All of those little things that you did start to add up to being, big changes, and become, instead of being changes, they become transformation. So I want to applaud you for doing what you're doing, and say thank you for now giving back to other women who have been in similar situations, who are in similar situations to you now. They're in the weeds, they're in the dark, and they're not, right now, they're feeling like they can't see the light. And the light is with you. You've been there, you've done that, you're now in the light, you can actually show them the way. And I love to hear other women doing this stuff that helps other women rise. So congratulations and thank you for doing that. The last question for you today, LaChelle, is on that note, what piece of advice would you give to other women, particularly those who are feeling like we're in a similar situation to you? They might be feeling like that, now I'm feeling like I'm inadequate. I'm not doing all the things that I need to be doing. I've created this world of expectations for myself. What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, the first thing is remembering that you're not an island. Okay. So during the pandemic, I was able to be a part of a book collaborative. This is a global project. It's Inspirational Women of the World. And not only are we working to spread the inspirational stories about our own journeys, but I was the only one from the United States that collaborated on this project. And all the stories are about us shedding light on adversity and obstacles that we overcame. One thing about that being so special to me, not just during a global pandemic that I have something physically to remind myself of, but it really was a big step of getting out of the mindset that I had to get the credit for everything. Oftentimes we have a story of overcoming. It's like, man, I just want to tell my story, and I'm not minimizing those that do. But in my case, I had to do a collaborative. And if I was so concerned about the book just having my name on it, it would still be in this computer. So I think it's really important to remember that, it's okay to connect with the tribe. It's okay to have a group that can support you during some of these things, because that's what's important, is to get the message out. The next thing is I created a S.M.I.L.E for Wellness movement. And S.M.I.L.E is an acronym to remind us to check in with ourselves daily about our mental wellness. So I wanted something to where women can be proactive and see the signs instead of being reactive. So S.M.I.L.E is an acronym. The S stands for sleep. So you want to make sure that you're getting good sleep, 8 hours a night. The next one is your mood. Are you having situations to where you're moody, every day, over a period of time? The next one is your inner voice. What are you saying to yourself? So often I was saying, you're not adding up, right with this, you're a failure. You could have did this or that, really being hard on myself. The next thing is laughter. Do not really remember laughing. My husband worked, he would be gone to work when my kids would get up, and he would get home from work when they were already in the bed. So I didn't have a lot of humor. It was like I was like a just very dictator, type person. We got to get this done. We don't have time for play. We just got to do this. I'm so task oriented. And then the last one is energy. So really being able to decide, a lot of the things that we want to do for ourselves, we can't even accomplish them because we don't have enough energy, which comes from what we're eating, how we're sleeping, our mood and attitude, and all these things play a role in that. So every day we should be cognizant of those 5 areas and thinking about how we can get them up to where they should be, because it can really make a difference in our outlook and our beliefs and the things that we accomplish for ourselves.
I absolutely love that. Smile, sleep, mood, inner voice, laughter, and energy. And that is extremely powerful. So I want you to hold up your book too. Can you hold that up again just so I can see it? I can everybody what. All right, so it's Inspirational Women of the World. So there you go, guys. You've got 2 great books now that are all about helping women to rise. So there's a couple of places that you can go. So if you want to connect with LaChelle, you can connect with her, and you can obviously get a copy of her book. And if you want a copy of the She-Myth book, well, you guys know where to go, because it's right underneath the video today, which is Amazon.com in America, Amazon.com.au in Australia. You can get paperback, hardback, and a ebook copy, which is not very expensive for the amount of information and transformation that you will get as a result of reading this book. So I want to say thank you so much, LaChelle, for your wisdom, your insight, and your just genuineness of sharing today, and your caringness of women. So I want to thank you for what you're doing. I want to thank you for being on telling your story today. And I'm hoping that we will continue to have more conversations, because I think there's a lot of synergy in what we're about.
Absolutely. And I just want to commend you for doing the same thing with your book, and would love to have you join me on my podcast. My audience would definitely love to hear your story as well. I think the more that we rise above the noise, that we have in our own head, and we shed the light on the truth, the better we all will be to be better versions of ourselves.
Absolutely. And my audience would say, well, what does Tracy usually say to stuff like that? And say, Tracy says yes. So let's connect and we'll make sure that happens. So guys, I want to say thank you very much for joining us today. We've gone like way over time, but that was such an interesting conversation, so on topic with what we're about. And I want you guys, if you haven't listened to the other She-Myth Eliminator stories, then I would highly recommend you do, because what I'm seeing is LaChelle talked today about patterns. There are patterns here. There are patterns that we talk about in the book. When you start to see and recognize what those patterns are and what's going on, there are a lot of patterns in the way in which women have actually overcome these She-Myths, the way in which they've overcome depression, the way in which they've overcome, moving forward in their life and having the things that they want in them. There are patterns there. So I want you to go back and I want you to listen to these stories and just start making notes, because I'm doing the same thing, and I'm hearing and seeing these women have very specific things that they are doing to help themselves move forward into a space that they, into a world and a life that they actually create on purpose. So I want to make sure that you guys actually pick that up as you're listening to the Eliminator stories. So that being said, where to get a copy of the book. And for those of you that've got any questions, go to the She-Myth launch. So the She-Myth book launch group, and we'll be able to answer any questions that you guys have got about the book, or just in life in general, about how we can rise as women, how you can stand up, stand firm, and stand out as a woman in the world of business. So make sure that you head on over to the She-Myth book launch group, and we'll connect there. But for now, I want to say thank you very much, and I'll see you guys back again tomorrow with another She-Myth Eliminator story right here on the same channel, 8 a.m. Brisbane time. So bye for now. Thanks very much, LaChelle. Great to have you here.
Oh, thank you. Bye.